Hello everyone, this is going to be a short lesson on goals, objectives, and competencies. These are very common words that we hear used a lot in the world of education, and if you've been in a class at any time before, you've probably heard some or all of those or used them before. You've probably also heard terms like outcomes, standards, other terms as well. A lot of these terminologies people kind of interchange easily. They think they mean the same thing. Other people think they have very, very specific different meanings. We're not going to get into all the different ways that you can look at goals, objectives, outcomes, competency, standards, and so on. In this lesson, we're going to look at one specific way of looking at goals, objectives, and competencies that is kind of popular here in the United States. Now, of course, due to the structure of this course, you are free to follow the sidewalk that I'm going to lay out and listen to everything that I have to say on goals, objectives, and competencies, or you're free to wander off into the garden and kind of look at it from your own perspective. Maybe you want to look at different terms, different shades of meanings, maybe a different socio-cultural context for these concepts. That's fine. For those of you that are following the sidewalk, though, we are going to look at one specific way of looking at goals and objectives. And for the sake of this lesson, we are going to look at goals and objectives as the basic idea, even though there are very advanced and complex ways of looking at them as well. And we're going to look at competencies as more of the advanced part of this lesson. Although if you're brand new to education, you can still do competencies. You don't have to be an educational expert to jump into competencies. We're just going to look at it as the more advanced way because it is popular, especially in corporate education, but it's one of my favorite ways of looking at organize a lesson. So we are going to look at that. And even more specifically, we are going to look at behaviorist performance objectives in this lesson. That is probably one that you're most used to, as that is one that focuses in on the instructor and you learning and then mimicking what they teach you. But it's also one that has some controversy to it because it focuses so much on the instructor. And other people prefer to have a more student-centered approach or an approach that is based on ungrading or some other form that gets away from standardized testing and rubrics. I certainly do lean towards and prefer having a more ungrading approach myself. However, no matter what approach you take to designing your lesson, who you put in the center of it and all of that, you need to learn how to design a well-aligned lesson from the beginning to the end. Whether you start with goals and then have objectives and then have a lesson and have an assessment, or you have a less structured approach to it that's more student-centered, more open-ended, however you want to look at it, you need to learn how to align your lesson from beginning to end so your learners don't get lost somewhere in the middle because you got lost yourself as the instructor. And performance objectives are one way to concretely learn how to make that alignment work. And once you learn that, then you can start experimenting with that some and start getting out of the mindset of behaviorism and start getting into other things, but you'll still have that idea of aligning from beginning to end well ingrained in your mind. Also, if you are going to work as an instructional designer or a teacher, faculty, grade school teacher, wherever it might be, you probably will be expected to write behaviorist performance objectives, even if you hate them or if you love them. Either way, that is probably what you'll be asked to do. So you do need to learn how to do these. But like I said, with the structure of this lesson, you are free to choose how you go through it and how you maybe don't follow me or how you do follow me. So at this moment, you will need to make one of the choices that you have on the page in front of you and start working through the different options of mapping your learning pathway through this course.